It all clicked last week in Watford 4, Manchester United 1. And defensively, it all slipped and malfunctioned in Leicester City 4, Watford 2. It just feels like in couple games we have similar scores and they flip round. We saw that in the Arsenal game, 1-0 to the away side in the Southampton game, and then 1-0 to Arsenal, the home side. We saw this week as well, 4-1 to the home side for Watford, and then 4-2 to the away side against Watford. And honestly, it is just so frustrating right now. We cannot seem to stay consistent and carry momentum forward. And you'd argue Leicester is a tough match. On their day, they're a good side. There's no doubting it. They've got into the Champions League before. They've got into Europa League deservedly. They've been, unfortunately, but they've been one of the best 4 teams in seasons gone by. Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic manager. But you kind of thought with Manchester United that maybe us beating them would do that a favour for Leicester, because there was rumours of Rodgers going to Leicester. There was the fact that Leicester were conceding goals from set pieces, from corners. They still haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 1, and that didn't continue, which is good for us. We did play well going forward. But as we always say with Watford, our defence is just not at the races. Our defence is unfortunately Championship quality, and it's not helped by the lack of depth we've got in that centre-back pairing. And injuries have really hurt us. Ciarauta still out injured. Cabaselli hasn't been fit in the last few weeks, but he was back on the bench today, which is good to see. Shame we didn't bring him on, really, when Troost-Ekong was so poor in the first half. But ultimately, we've had a lot of injuries. And Kulu looked so composed against Man United. He had a hamstring injury, went off early with that substitution. And to be fair, Troost-Ekong didn't show any alarm bells for me in that game against Man United. Maybe because of the fact of how well Watford were playing. We didn't really leave a glove on Manchester United. Once we'd gone ahead, we looked so much the better team, and we didn't have a lot of defensive work to do with because the rest of the defence was doing such a great job. But today, we just looked a lost cause, really. And with Troost-Ekong at the back, he looked so nervous, and there were so many mistakes in there. And obviously, the injuries haven't helped, but we should have invested in the centre-back pairing in the summer. We spent a lot of our money on midfield, and I get that's a midfield strength we need to position with Decore and Capu leaving the last few seasons, and of course Will Hughes and Nathaniel Chalobah and Domingos Quina, who has unfortunately not got the game time at Fulham this season that he deserves. But it is a bit of a thing where, have we used our money wisely? And we need to get centre-backs in the January window, because if we don't, then it could easily see us relegated because we're just conceding too many goals. But offensively, Ranieri's got us pressing, he's got us scoring goals and looking dangerous, and that partnership is looking good. The game against Man United, Sarr and Dennis were back at it with that little link up, and again here, Sarr is a big player on our side. It's amazing he stayed for this point, but he's convinced that he's got a role at this club, and we've got the best out of him at times, but other times we haven't. And playing without him today, I think we just did look, all right. We find a solution, but it's the solution that needs to be solved in the defence, which is the most pressing thing. And great reception, I've got to say, great reception from the Leicester City fans when Ranieri entered the stadium, and to welcome back an absolute legend for their club. What an amazing achievement it was to win that Premier League title, and what a man Carlo Ranieri is. He is screwed on. His head is screwed on. He's got great football insight, and look, he is going to find this a challenge, as any manager would, because we've got a lot of players that at Championship level are better. Let's not be a bit deluded about this. We have got a very lacking in quality team, but in other areas we've got a very pushing for mid-table, pushing for European place quality of player. And that's your likes of Ismaila Sarr, that's your likes of Emmanuel Dennis, who's been a great signing. Joshua King is a player who has had a lack of confidence in the last few seasons, but we've got the best out of him and he's really showing it. So there's a good side in there, but it's getting the best out of them, getting that balance. And that's the key word, I think, from today, the balance between attack and defence. And we didn't show it. Unfortunately, we just did not show it today. And the lineup was interesting, right? Obviously, Foster, the main headline. It's unfortunate, a groin injury, and you feel like he's that safe pair of hands when he's not starting. It's kind of like, well, that's a bit of a shocker. you don't expect it, but you kind of think, you know, it's a shame. It really is. But it is what it is at the end of the day. We can't get too bogged down by it. The other thing I was going to say was, with Daniel Bachmann, we've got to remember how good he was in the Championship. I know it's a Championship, right? But that was his first time he was really thrown into the thick of things. And I think a lot of the thing was, oh, the Spurs mistake. That's what Bachmann plays like. But it's not. Like, you can't define him by one moment. So Bachmann is a good goalkeeper for the future, I still think. And a lot of people have argued he's more focused than Foster, with the whole thing about his YouTube channel and the Cycling GK. I still think Foster's a great professional, and he's a sturdy pair of hands once we've got that confidence in the younger players at the club in goal. But it just didn't look like a good game from Bachmann today, and I don't think you can blame him too much, because some of the goals, you know, the angle of that Vardy goal, not many strikers will be getting that and scoring that, but Jamie Vardy, on his day, when he's got confidence back, can score those. I'm sorry we've frozen for a bit. We seem to have some lagging issues here, which is quite annoying, but hopefully we'll get that back soon, and we can come back to you. But yeah, it really is. It's frustrating when a player like Jamie Vardy, who's not been in form, comes back, and you know, he does always score via us, so we should be doubling up on him. We should be stopping him. Also, to see Luaza starting, obviously it was fantastic against Man United, so I was happy about that. I don't think Kutska was one to just automatically come back in. He was good in the game against Villa, good in the game against Arsenal. I thought he's unlucky to get sent off because some of his tackles were good, but just, you know, a bit too eager perhaps. But ultimately, right, we didn't seem to know what we were doing defensively, and that's a key problem. So at the back, cleverly, you know, he protects that back four so well, and I thought he was the man really to get subbed off. You argue it's a 50-50, but I would have preferred to see Troost-Ekong subbed off because he just wasn't having a good game, and maybe bring on someone like João Pedro earlier on, just to kind of take the game to Leicester, especially at half time when, you know, it was 3-1. I appreciate that, and there's got to be a level of caution around it, but we did have moments where if we get back in the game like we see at 3-2, then you think, now we've got to put them under pressure. But the lack of game management, you know, we get to 1-1, we go 2-1 down very quickly, and then we get to 3-2, we get another goal conceded, and it's just sloppy defending again. And we can't let people like Ademola Lookman, who's not been scoring for weeks on end, suddenly pop up with a goal. It's just very frustrating. So it was an absolute thriller of a match, and that's for sure. But that's just a detriment and a show of Watford's defensive frailties, unfortunately, the last few weeks. We've just not been defending well enough to get clean sheets, and to, you know, we're getting to the point now where we're just having to outscore our opposition. So Messina at left back was another interesting one. I think that's fair enough. He's earned his spot there recently. Some good performances. Apologies for that. I was just watching the highlights back. And also Sissoko captain. I still think he's the man for that. But you look at the first goal, right? What is William Troost-Ekong doing? He just stands and watches. It's a good ball, to be fair. It's a good ball. Like, I'm not going to deny it. But Troost-Ekong, you can't duck underneath the ball. And does Bachmann come out wrong? Like, he kind of gives the option here for Maddison to find that corner. But I do think, like, defensively, we have to look at ourselves. And how he squeezes that in, I'm not sure, right? Then the Dennis chance, okay? Really good wing play. And this is what Dennis is all about. And it's so clever because he just drags it back. It is a clear penalty. And in the conditions, it was a difficult match. But indeed, he's not won any of the ball there. So really, really clever from Dennis. The way he just cuts inside is just fantastic. King steps up. I actually had him in my fantasy team, so I was loving that. Confident penalty, and that's what you want to see after missing two. Really, really good response. And at this point, you're thinking, yes, this is what we needed, right? Tough match, tough conditions. Just get back in it early, and let's see what we can do. And it comes out to Leicester. They whip it in, and Vardy cannot be scoring there. Obviously, you'd argue Bachmann's done the right thing. He's tried to be impressive. But if he's going to come out, and it's a good pass from Maddison, to be fair, if he's going to come out, he's got to get there. He's got to get at Vardy's feet. And I know there's a risk there that we could give away a penalty, but he's got to be more in your face. He just is a bit half-hearted in his attempt, and you feel bad for Messina trying to block it on the line, but it's a great volley. It's a great chip from that angle. And there was a point in the game where you kind of thought, just postpone it, because you can't even see where the ball is. I'm not sure if you can blame Bachmann for the third goal from Vardy because, look, it's a good header, but ultimately, right, we should have someone on the back post. Like, we have Sissoko near the front, but no one on that back left-hand post. In the second half, it was a joke. Like, literally, the pitch was a white sheet, and brilliant from Dennis. What a tackle, and a composed finish. And you think, okay, 3-2, get in there. Like, that is brilliant from Watford to get back in this, especially the conditions. It was just an absolute joke of a match, really. Lovely chip to just sit down Schmeichel and dispossess Castagna, who's just, you know, really waiting on it. But lovely little feint, has the dummy and puts it away. But then we should not concede again. It's as simple as that, right? Harvey Barnes just finds it way too easy, and you feel for Bachmann because he's come out and he's tried to narrow down the angle, but we've not got enough defence back. Like, you've got to be quicker to it. Cathcart doesn't get there. Come on, Troost-Ekong, you're backpedaling. Like, you've got to be ahead of Maddison, and he does get a touch on it, but it's just like it's a tap in for Lookman. So defensively, just a mess today, and I don't know how to fix it for Watford because there is a lot that needs fixing. That's the harsh reality of it, right? We're in a defensive problem right now, and Cucho, I thought, if he was going to really go for it today, he should have shown more of an impact. And I think Bachmann, it was his time today to shine, to show that he is just as up and in the face of the competitiveness with Foster, but it really did go badly. So I don't want him to get berated because it was a tough opposition, but he was pretty poor, it's got to be said, in the match. Femenia as well, just not ideal really. Off the back of such a good win, it was just a bit sluggish, a bit lethargic. But look, we scored 2 goals away from home. We don't often do that, especially away to Leicester. We often fire blanks in that kind of matching, and especially the tough conditions. It was crazy, right? Burnley Spurs gets called off, and you kind of think at the start of the match, oh dear, the cycling GK with a groin injury, and it was time for Bachmann to prove the doubters wrong. But as we know, Leicester are a good side on their day, and with just 2 fit centre backs and 1 fit goalkeeper out of our 2 main starting goalies, it's worrying because we concede 4 away, which is not really good enough for a team like Leicester who have been out of form, not scoring goals, but now they suddenly do, and they get, you know, we help them play back into form. And now we've got Chelsea and Man City, so love that. But you know, Chelsea were wasteful today against Man United. I don't know. I just think it's worrying because Man City can embarrass us, and I don't want us to get embarrassed like against Liverpool because in the last couple of performances, there's been a great team effort. Against Arsenal especially, and I thought actually against Man United, I know you say United were awful, but there was just a team collective. Against Leicester, it was much better in terms of attacking, but we just causing our own problems defensively, and we know Bachmann can play well, right? That is why he's such a good goalie, but he can't be making the kind of Tottenham mistake levels, and I think there were a few mistakes, especially from the defence, but I think he maybe will be thinking about that, certainly the Vardy goal, how he's managed to come out for that and not come at it. But Josh King, we love to see that. Like he's back in confidence and he's showing a good run of form, to be fair. But we've got to double up on Jamie Vardy. He's Leicester's most dangerous player, and we give him way too much room. And I think we just know by now that we just can't defend. Like we've got to just try and outscore our opponents. And fair enough, that's what we tried to do in the second half. Got back in the game with a cheeky little Dennis goal. But Vardy, 2 goals, you know, no form coming into this. 2 goals against us. He loves playing us. And Maddison, 2 goals, 1 assist, no form coming into this. You wouldn't expect it, but we give them the opportunities. Away from home, we need to be more solid. We saw it in the game against Man United, how we controlled that game. We haven't controlled an away game this season other than Norwich City. So that's a problem. But I still think there's positive to take. We just need to pepper them from corners more, because we knew Leicester could concede from that, and we didn't really have enough opportunities. But what you got to look at is the stats, right? We were well in that game, and 4-2 looks like a thrashing. It was to an extent in terms of how poor we were in defensive opportunities, but defensively Leicester were poor as well. We had about 15 shots, I think, or 17 shots, and Leicester had about 20. So, you know, there's about a couple of differences between these stats. But the opportunities that Leicester are taking are opportunities you wouldn't expect to go in, like that Vardy goal. And the chances we're getting are more likely to go in the back of the net, and at least we're putting them there. But ultimately, right, from 3-1 down, we give ourselves a bit of a handicap. Troost-Ekong's defending, Bachmann at times just not looking confident enough, and I think until we get him in a bit of form, it's hard to rest all our hopes on Daniel Backman. That chance for Cucho as well, it really should have shot. Why didn't he shoot? He just needs more confidence in his ability, because we know he can do it. We really should have pulled a goal back, and that at the start of the second half, I know we did get an early goal with Dennis, but if we get that so early in 50 minutes, then that could mean a different second half. Ultimately, though, we shouldn't have given ourselves that much work to do defensively, and we were really sloppy in the first half. So, yeah, he gets forward, but he opts to pass instead of shooting, and then, of course, Schmeichel makes the save from Joshua King. It's just, I wish the game had gone differently. When it was 1-1, I wish we'd just gone into half-time the same score, 1-1, see what we can take from the game and approach it differently and try and just hang in there. But it's about game management. We need to just be, more careful, really. And I think I was joking at 3-1 or something when it was really, really snowy. It was like, well, just postpone the game. You can't even see the ball. That's just an excuse for our bad defending and the fact we were behind. But then you get that Dennis goal, you think, come on, the comeback is on. And no, Lookman gets the goal, assisted by Harvey Barnes. And I think the only time we can wait to get a clean sheet is when the games get postponed at this point. Like, it's getting that desperate. So if we keep conceding goals like this, there's no doubt we'll go down. We have to hope we can do a Leeds and outscore our opposition, but we also have to hope we invest in the summer and, we get it to 3-2, as I mentioned, with Dennis's goal, and then we just shoot ourselves in the foot, getting back to square one. And it's just defeat at the King Power, which we've said time and time again, not winning there since 2013, but an entertaining game at least. We just need to find that right balance, and a better performance than previous matches away to Leicester. But just what is our defence right now? I think the Foster injury just made our defence so worried. Like, Foster is a leader and he barks orders, and I just don't see a leader in that defence right now, and that is a real worry. Troost-Ekong, he needs a bit of a kick up or something. I don't know. Like, have a little word with him, because honestly today he just looked so lethargic, and you just got to hope that there's going to be some plans to get some more centre backs in, because his distribution we knew is poor from last season. His tackling and his heading is better, but he's just got to be braver. He's got to get in and get headers on, and stop the danger before it happens, because it feels like he's waiting for it, and then that hesitation came from that first goal we really shouldn't have conceded through Maddison. But yeah, positives to take, Josh King for sure. Other positives, I guess you could say, we're not showing the lack of attacking intent that we have been recently. We're peppering the chances, right? And Schmeichel made a few good saves, but we just tried our very best. We simply can't concede 4 to a team out of form, and we simply have to think, right, that 2-1, we get back into it. Let's try and get back into it, and then it's 4 minutes later 3-1. Then we get back into it, and 7 minutes later it's 4-2. So we need to sort out that balance. We need to control the ball longer. And, Luaza was great at that against Man United. But taking him off, maybe taking off cleverly more so, was a bit more controversial. And I understand bringing on Pedro for the second half, because he gave us that attacking thrust, but still not enough of an impact. So onwards to Chelsea midweek. Very, very tough run of games. November has been very unkind to us with the fixture scheduling, but look, we need to be better defensively. There's no easy way to say it, and a lot of things that are worrying from that game. But Dennis is in form. Hopefully he's back fit to play against Chelsea, and hopefully King can carry on his decent form. Man of the match? That's a tough one, but we'll go Emmanuel Dennis with a goal and an assist.